Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this morning's Sunday brunch with Bubbles and Spritz. Coming up to the stage right now, Chef Lisa Dahl.
I want to just make sure I don't fall before I get up here because it's bright out there. Hey, good lookins, what you got cooking? How about cooking something up with me? So, I am so excited to show you how I think you can have the greatest brunch with very low stress. First of all, I'm Chef Lisa Dahl, and I'm from Sedona, Arizona. And I have 6 restaurants there, and they are the Dahl restaurants, and I'm cooking a lot of goodies from Mariposa Latin-inspired grill. And I am really excited to show you how you can do some great stuff in advance and not have to be stressing over anything. So when you have a brunch, just like with any party, you want to get everything out of the way, don't you? So we always want to get the things that take the longest time out of the way first. So how many people here love gazpacho? Right on. So gazpacho is one of the greatest things that you can start any party with. In the summer, in May, once we hit May at Mariposa, we go with gazpacho every day. I'm going to show you. The vegetables are all cut in advance. Peppers, put them all in one at one time. And when you're using a food processor, what you want to do is learn how to pulse. Because pulse, not only is it more delicious, in my opinion, than hand chopping. Of course, we hand chop all kinds of things, but what we want is, I need my little spatula. Where is it, kids? Right? They're all black and I can't see the difference. I just wonder, like maybe a little rubber spatula. Oh, thank you. So when you're using a food processor, which can be my favorite friend, and I'm not really big on a lot of fancy gimmicks, but I don't want to hand dice this many ingredients, but I do want to mention with this, because when you pulse in little pulses, instead of just letting it run, you can get any dice that you want. And look at this. Look at how beautiful that looks. So I am going to surprise you by using common but high quality tomato juice. If you don't like Campbell's, which I do and it works great, then just go right ahead and get a nice fancy one from the health food store, whatever you like, Whole Foods. But honestly, I actually think Campbell's is good. Now I'm going to do all my vegetables, as you might have noticed. Start with the peppers, and I do the families of vegetables separately. So like celery, Persian cucumbers. I use Persian because they don't have a lot of seeds, and if they do, they're tight. So celery, let's just go ahead and do celery, cukes, red onions, and our garlic can all go in at one time. Presto. Okay, this is a greatest thing. Make it always in advance, and that's why I'm showing you this. Because if you make this the day before, and what you're going to taste, I made yesterday afternoon. And so you see the flavors have come into it, because if you wait till the last minute. And another trick I want to tell you when you make this at home is to put your tomato juice in the fridge before, because then it's cold, so everything just kind of acclimates in there. This was in Men's Health a few years ago, and I thought it was great, because imagine what an antioxidant this is, to have all these good peppers and the lycopenes, everything that you would want, and you could make this like your diet drink all summer. I mean, it's the best, I'll tell you. So here, you see how I'm doing this. everything is already done. Bravo. Now, we're going to add, this is the fun part, we're going to add our cayenne pepper, and I put a kick in. I also have something that I am crazy over, and I want to talk to you a little bit about it. Where's my book? Okay, I want to talk to you for a moment about the importance of condiments. In my presentation, I'm going to use a lot of condiments from my book. You're going to have the romesco sauce, which we use for all kinds of toppings, and I love it. The reason I love it especially is it's vegan. So if you have vegans, you can have a sauce that's fantastic for vegans. But here you're going to see I have a very good chimichurri. Here is our chili oil, and this is what I call my piece de resistance, because you're going to taste it in the guacamole, you're going to taste it in the gazpacho, and you're going to also taste it in the strata. And you balance it with a serrano. You can use jalapenos, but I love the condiments because to me they're like sides. I mean, it's and here is the book, and you'd fall in love with this book, and I'll be signing afterwards. So now I'm going to give my spices, bit of oregano. We have the cayenne, just a bit, as much as somebody likes. You can always build up the heat. A little black pepper. Now, lime juice, imperative, freshly squeezed. Got to have a little kick. Has everybody tried their gazpacho yet? And do you dig it? Right on, right on. Okay. Got to bring it. This is one thing that you will need a touch more salt. Campbell's is not very salty. You can always balance it. My recipe in the book is foolproof. And you can always adjust the heat. And then we're going to do something I adore. I use a good sherry vinegar in gazpacho. This is where I won't just go get the cheapest stuff. You know, sometimes you can, but I'll use a Jimenez or something really nice for my sherry vinegars. Wherever I use sherry vinegar, I really like it. Makes it, quite honestly. Without this, this is not the same. So you gotta, yeah. And you can even use a little aged one. It's not that you're going to use so much, but I would never have a kitchen pantry without sherry vinegar. So that, and then extra virgin olive oil. I use the good stuff here. And it imparts a richness that I'm just crazy over. And then where would we be without cilantro? And that's it, voila. Put it in the fridge the day before, and then you can spice it up with tequila or with vodka if you like. When you serve it, if you're gonna have a brunch, watch out, right? But how delicious, just au naturel, something that you know is vegan. It's gluten-free. It's everything. It's healthy. It's full of flavor, and it makes a party, honestly. You always want to have something conversational when you have a party. Okay, there is my little mess I made over there. Any questions from anybody about gazpacho? No. Okay, but you love it, I hope. Right on. Okay. Now, thank you. Now, here's the fun part. I have to figure out how to heat it up real quick. Yesterday I had technical support, so if anybody wants to help me get this little contraption going, you can tell I'm not a techie. Thank you. And I do want to say that everyone here should give a warm round of applause, because without this woman, Shaniqua, nothing. And when I say this, she's the unsung hero. Nobody even knows that she exists. She's behind the scenes. Everything you see that happens with Palm Desert Food and Wine is this babe. Okay? Badass, too. Okay. She paid me to say that. Okay, I'm going to start the strata. Um, how is the strata? Do you love it? Yes, yeah. Okay, so I have adapted. You notice I call it the Sedona strata. Yeah, but this is something that I adapted from a lot of different egg. So let me just tell you about this strata, which is basically a crustless quiche, right? And I am going to go ahead while I'm doing, because I don't know how quickly this will react. I'm going to start with the corn and put the corn. I'm using olive oil. Now I will saute in extra virgin olive oil as long as it doesn't get too hot or a blend. But I could easily do this, and so can you, if you want, with butter. But why? I mean, the extra virgin olive oil tastes just like butter. I love it better. I do all my eggs at home in extra virgin olive oil. But in saying that, what's great about that is you're not losing any flavor, but you're gaining some really good nutrition through that. Okay, so I start with white sweet corn shaved off the cob. I'm going to add some green onions. And the thing about this, again, everything is made in advance. So I'm not one that's going to be laboring and laboring. If I have a brunch in the restaurants and we have 200 people, and this strata is great, but I've done this in different events around the country, and I've changed out ingredients. Like sometimes I'll do like Gruyere and Swiss chard and bacon. I mean, or ham. So there's nothing you can't do once you have the base, and the base is fantastic. And I think you have a recipe of everything, but here's the thing that's great about the base. For a 9x13 casserole, you're going to use about a dozen eggs. You're going to put in, I need whisks, some kind of whisk. If I don't have a whisk, I'll use a spoon. I have to be resourceful. Okay, milk. I mean, this is so amazing because what you're having today, I hate to admit it, but we made it yesterday. And so we made it, pre-baked it until it was just about done, and then popped it in the oven. And that's the beauty of a strata. Okay, now I'm going to whisk in first my Worcestershire. Yeah, it's doing good. The salt, of course. Gotta have salt in eggs. Ugh. Pepper. Now, this is an important time to discuss that, again, I'm going to use the famous Serrano chili oil. I picked up this recipe in Guanajuato, Mexico, and I started using it in one of my Italian restaurants with ciabatta or focaccia, and serving it on the side just as a condiment, and everybody went crazy. And I've been using it now. Cucina Rustica will be 20 years old in June, and I've been using the Serrano chili oil. I call it aceite di Serrano, which is just a lovely way to say Serrano chili oil. You could use jalapenos, but it's more than just chilies and oil. We put in onions, we put in oregano. It has lovely seasonings. So I'm going to turn this off because all you want to do is get the flavor in the corn and in the green onion mixture with the chilies. Okay, in your strata, I also put some hatch chilies, which add another little element. So now you want to be able to cool the corn green onion mixture in advance instead of putting it in the eggs hot. So if we were at home, we'd be putting it in the fridge, setting it aside, then we would be adding it into the eggs. But I don't want to curdle them, if you understand that. So now I love that this has sour cream because I think that's what makes it light and fluffy. As a matter of fact, I know that is. And when you stir this in, you are not going to have to get all of you'll use a whisk, especially if you have one, which I don't, so that's fun. But it doesn't matter because you just take a little bit more time, but it'll kind of look like cottage cheese. think I got all my goodies in. So I put my seasonings into the corn and into the corn scallion mixture, because then when it incorporates into the egg, it's already got the seasoning, so you don't have to worry about the salt settling. And now I'm going to do my favorite part, which is my favorite part, the cheese. Yeah. So it's going to look really heavy with cheese. When you see this, it is going to look like a really thick quiche. So the thing I love about making this for a brunch, of course you can have other goodies on the plate, but you've got your strata, you can have roasted potatoes, they would be done in advance, pop right out of the oven. Oh, after I gave you all those, after I bragged about you, thank you. You make me look good there, baby. That is what she's here for, and she does the best of anybody. She feels embarrassed that there wasn't a whisk. Okay, all you have to do is fold in, right? Oh, I probably got her bad. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just do it. I'm doing it. And I use white cheddar. You can use yellow cheddar. You can use spicy jack cheese. You can do whatever you like, but those are the type of cheeses you want to use. Okay, now I'm going to take this corn. It should be cooled, but I would like you to cool it just a few minutes longer. And there we go. We would be literally just pouring this lovely mixture straight into you could butter, or you could even just use your same olive oil. I don't care. I have to tell you, I did butter the sides of the pans. And we had to, instead of the glass casserole, we had to build ours in those tin pans. But you know, if you're having hundreds of servings, you want to have to do something like that. But I always use a non-reactive, very heavy casserole dish so that it comes out really good. And I really do think everything makes a difference in how you choose to, what you put things in will make a difference, you know. I mean, the higher quality of the casserole is going to make a difference. Now, insto presto. I hope it's not too hot. No, it's not. And so here we are. Yum, yum, yum. So you want this to turn out with a beautiful golden crust, and then you can garnish it however you like. I mean, you could put, I usually in Sedona will use pico de gallo, a little dollop of sour cream and guacamole, but I felt like this is better than pico de gallo to serve it with a shooter. And that's that. You cut it and you do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Everyone, do you have any questions about anything? Was anything too spicy? It wasn't, not even the romesco. See, I think the romesco is really such a pretty way to garnish, and it's so nice because you use the piquillo peppers or you use red peppers and you roast them. Today we didn't roast ours because we didn't have open flames. So all I did was get the really good jarred red peppers, and when you make it at home, just roast them over your gas flame and then sweat them in a bowl, plastic, peel them, seed them, put them right in your blender mixer, and then just add the ingredients that are in the book. And I think that you will have a great success with that, but you'll find a lot of other uses. What I like about the romesco is if you're doing like a grilled vegetable plate or something like that, and you know you've got vegans coming. Vegans, you have to be prepared for everything when you have a party. So you take, or crudité, but you've got the romesco sauce, and you can know that you're giving them a wonderful vegan, gluten-free, great little condiment that goes with a lot of things. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. How many have ever been to my restaurants in Sedona? Brava, brava, bravo, brava. Yeah, fantastic. Well, come back. We want you all to come to Sedona. It's beautiful. It's exotic, even more exotic than here, but we don't have the shopping they have on the sale. So enjoy, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a real treat now. Coming to the stage, Chef Glynis Albright, the Waffle Queen.
Yes. Okay. Whoop. You know I got heels on, right? Well, good morning, good afternoon. How are you guys doing today? Oh, I'm looking at your plates. Yes, yes. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to make some light, crispy, delicious waffles. Hope they came out good for you guys today. The first thing you do when you start making my waffles, you're going to put in 4 eggs, okay? Stand mixer. We're going to put it on high. So hopefully, here we go. Let's try it. Oh, wait, never mind. We can't go up high because my oil is swishing over here. Okay. All right, so we'll leave it right here. But normally you put it on high. You want those eggs to triple in volume, right? And then, after it gets really, really good and whipped up and luscious, you're going to add in 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. Now, I'm going to turn this down. Here we go. Now, just in case you're wondering, where did the recipe come from? When I was 19 years old, sophomore at UCLA. I know you guys are sitting up here going, okay, now how old is she? Okay, I'll be 66. I'll be 66 in August. So anyway, so now you don't have to figure it out. Most college students in the 70s and 80s, we were, poor students. We had our scholarships that paid for our apartments and our tuition, our books, but it didn't cover food for me. So I ate waffles, pancakes, and crepes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But, you know, back then, we could all eat 3 times a day, right? But now, not anymore. So anyway, now we're going to turn that up. Okay. Now, the mix is going to start looking like a fluffy mousse. That's the way you want it to look. So I'm going to try to turn it up as high as I can without wasting my oil. Okay, come on. Come on, baby. Here we go. Okay, we're going to let that go. And just in case you guys are wondering, where did the logo come from? I hired an artist, a local artist, to draw me as a caricature. There's a waffle skirt, a crepe bustier, and a pancake necklace, because the waffle mix makes waffles, pancakes, and crepes, right? So there you go. You know that story. Okay, we're going to turn it up some more. There we go. Let me watch my oil. Okay, so while that's whipping up, let's get our oil and everything together. I prefer to use safflower oil when I'm frying. Why? It has a good heat point. It doesn't burn your chicken. Tastes good. And anytime you have fried chicken, you want it to have that crispy, crunchy outside and nice succulent meat on the inside. So here's Glynis's all-purpose coating mix. When you open the box, everything is in the box. All you need is the chicken, okay? So when you open it, there will be a tiny packet of buttermilk soak. Everybody knows what the buttermilk soak is. It's just a marinade. It's something to cure your meat. A buttermilk soak consists of eggs, buttermilk, and salt. I prefer to put the buttermilk soak with my chicken and let it sit overnight, but you can let it sit for about 2 or 3 hours. And then the second packet in the box would have all the seasonings, all the good stuff that you need to give that good batter, right? The outer coat. All right, so I'm gonna let that keep going. Here we go. Let's try to bring it up a little bit higher. Okay, I think I can get there. So this is what the buttermilk soak looks like when you open the box. So you're gonna dump that in a bowl. You're gonna add 3 cups of water, whisk it, and your meat. I prefer to use what we call party wings because they're easy. And you're gonna pour that buttermilk soak over your clean chicken, cover it over with plastic, and put it in the refrigerator for about 3 hours or overnight. Then, I put my gloves on. Wait, let me just see where to get my coating mix in here. Hold on. Let me use my fingernails to open it up here. Here we go. So look, see, I opened it up. Coating mix. Everything's in the box. And I think they have me all set up right here. Okay, hold on, let's do that. All right, here we go. I also created everything that's Glennis's. I created it during my sophomore year at UCLA. And just in case you're wondering, where did all the recipes like really come from? How did I get into food? Years ago, I was diagnosed with leukemia. So my relationship with food had to change. And being from New Orleans, you know, we love to have that good seasoned food, probably lots of salt and hot stuff in it. But my relationship with food had to change. So I decided to come up with a line of foods that taste good, but they have all the nutrients in it. So no sweeteners, no preservatives, additives, no food dyes. Why would I use food dyes? Red and yellow. I can use cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, real vanilla extract to get my red color. And for the yellow color, I can use turmeric, which is a cancer preventative, right? So everything you're eating is nice and healthy because it grows up from the ground and is nurtured by the sun and the rain. Those are the products that are inside of those boxes, okay? So now that the chicken we'll pretend that it's been soaking overnight, okay? It's been soaking, okay. Okay, it's been soaking overnight. And now, we're gonna put our chicken in there. So now, if you can see, it's in the bowl, and I'm gonna make sure all that good buttermilk is on there. And then I'm gonna dip it into my seasonings, which is the next bowl here. And I usually do about 3 pieces at a time, not too many. I'm gonna overload it. So you guys enjoying yourself out there? Everything's going good so far? Okay. Yes. All right. And then I'm gonna coat it over. There you go. Does anyone have any questions so far? Everybody's good? No questions? None? Okay. Thank you. Good. And notice you can see all the seasonings. Look at that. All the seasonings all inside of that batter. Look at that. You see all the green and orange colors. Yum. Now I have to do all my sound effects. sometimes people say, well, why do you have to whip those eggs up for 15 minutes? But, you just got to do that. Because while those eggs are whipping up, you can get your turkey bacon together, start scrambling your eggs, right? Setting your table, and let the stand mixer do the job. Now you can also make the waffles using a hand mixer. And if you have kids, you let your kids take turns holding the mixer, right? Not you. You give them the job. Or if you have a husband, let him do it. Okay. All right, I have one more piece of chicken to go. Now, one of the secrets to frying chicken, I usually put my chicken in a hot oil, safflower oil, and I let it fry for about 15 minutes before I turn it over. You don't want to fiddle with it because then you'll lose all of your batter, right? You don't want that batter to fall off. Cool. All right, we got that. Okay. Our eggs and whipping cream are doing pretty good over here. Normally this would be on number 10, but as you know, if I put it up pretty high, my oil is going to leak here, so we're not going to do that. Now, my oil is enough. I'm going to drop it into the safflower oil. There we go. I don't crowd my chicken up too much, too. The wings are going to cook pretty fast, so there's no reason to crowd it up. As soon as you finish with one batch, drain it, pop in another batch. Going to tamper with that. Let me find a towel. Oh, here we go. Now, chicken and waffles is a pretty popular thing here in California. I'm originally from New Orleans, and I didn't hear about chicken and waffles in New Orleans. Waffles, chicken, but not together. But that's a nice combination. It's a nice combination. When I was in school, if I didn't have enough money to do the chicken and the waffles, I did catfish. Sometimes I would do a steak. Sometimes I would do shrimp. So contingent upon how much money I had at the end of the week, that would determine which protein was going to go with my waffles, my pancakes, or my crepes. And that's the good thing about Glennis's all-purpose coating mix. It's for any meat, poultry, fish, seafood, and even the new plant-based meats that they're having right now. I've never tried them, but they work well with that too, and vegetables. Me, I want the meat, okay? If you can't tell me what's in it, then I don't want to eat it. Okay, so we're letting that fry. Find out we have some tongs here. Okay, so we're going to recap. 4 eggs, whip on high. Turn it down, add in 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. It's going to increase in volume. As soon as it gets nice and whipped and beautiful, you're going to add in 3/4 cups of Glennis's waffle mix. And now we have it in gluten-free too. All right, so now I'm going to add in the waffle mix. Turn it down. And then where did they put my waffle mix? Okay. Huh? Oh, okay, here we go. I'll just take it right off the box there. Okay, all right. You got me? Okay. And you have a little measuring cup so I can get 3/4 cups. So I'll just add just a little bit in there. Okay, there you go. Here we go. All right, here we go. So I'm going to pour out 3/4 cup. That's all you need. I'm going to eyeball it. There we go. Now, if you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com, and put in Glennis's Kitchen, you can make the waffles with me. I'll do it step by step for you. Okay, let's put that back. There. Oh, you get the mix from GlennisKitchen.com. Remember, GlennisKitchen.com. Or you could just Google World Famous Waffle Queen. My face will pop up, right, Bruce? And then place your order. We just did a partnership with Amazon, the big boy, and they are fulfilling some of the shipping for me. So depending upon what type of Amazon customer you are, your mix might come in 1 day, 2 days, or the same day. All right, so now we just added in the waffle mix. Now I do have to say, with my waffles, you can choose whether you want to have syrup or not. They're so good that you really don't need syrup. What I do is I sprinkle on a little bit of powdered sugar and call it a day. Sometimes I put fruit, like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, bananas. Some people ask, well, can I add it into the mix? You sure can. I would say once you finish making the mix, put the fresh fruit in, use a spatula, and add it in so it doesn't break up. But if you wanted to add it in so it can break up, you can. But I like mine. I like to take a waffle and then with bananas, and I like that big chunk of banana to land in my mouth. You know what I mean? When I'm eating it. I don't want it to be all mushy. But you can do that if you want to. Okay. Now we're just going to pretend. Okay, pretend. All right, can somebody come and help me with this? I'm not used to this mixer. I'm a KitchenAid girl. Okay, all right. So I don't want to make a mess here. So you have to lower the bowl. All right now. Excuse me. Okay. All right. All right. And then we have a spatula too, right? Oops. Yep, we sure do. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Oh, you're going to do that? Okay. All right. And then I'll get a spatula too. Yes. Okay. All right. Now, the mix is usually really, really whipped up and thick and fluffy. Today it's a little thin, but like I said, we're pretending today. And when you put the waffle mix inside of the waffle iron, do not take it all the way to the rim. Because remember, when you close the waffle iron up, it's going to expand. So I would put a little in the middle, take it almost to the rim, leave about an inch all the way around. And once you close it up, you can hear it spreading out. You hear that nice little sizzle and crackle. You know what I mean? And then every now and then, depending upon what kind of waffle iron you have, you see your waffle iron kind of rise up a little bit. I prefer a Belgian waffle iron because it has deep, deep pockets. You get a waffle that's about that thick, just like those. But, the other waffle irons, remember the thin ones that we had when we were growing up? They work out fine, too. But now, use the Belgian waffle iron. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit in here. Now, depending upon how you like your waffle, I like mine medium brown. But if you choose to have yours a little darker, then just put the setting on dark. Now, this particular waffle iron by Presto, I set it at 3 minutes. But every waffle iron is different. Flip it over. Here we go. All right, there we go. We're going to flip that over. Now, some of the waffle irons have like a red line that's big, and then it kind of goes down to light. So you just decide, just play around with it and figure out what level you want it to be on. But I like mine not light brown, but right in the middle, nice and crispy and crunchy. Some people like theirs really dark, but I don't prefer the burnt taste, All right, let's put that over there. Okay. Right, so now we're going to turn over our chicken. It's been a few minutes. While that's baking. Ooh, honey, let me tell you. Can you guys see the chicken? Is there any way you can see? Oh, you can't? Wait a minute. Hold on. What are we looking at? Oh, yes. Honey, let me tell you, look at this. Okay. All right now. Yeah, whenever I'm making chicken for my adult children, we have a little thing. You say, Mama, that chicken look good. Start sucking your teeth a little bit. Okay. So now you see how that batter stays on. Because I didn't fiddle with it. There you go. Any questions? No questions, no questions, no questions? Okay, well, guess what? That's a possibility. That's a possibility. So I have Desiree Benson, my publicist is here. I have one of my marketing guys, Bruce. Can you stand up too? He's right over here. Let them know there is a fee. Hop a plane that you will pay for. Ground transportation. I'll bring all the goodies and the rest is history. So when are we doing this? That's it. Let's book it. Hey, why not? Now, I've been doing this on cruises since 2007. So we have Celebrity Cruise Line, Holland America, and Royal Caribbean. So my husband is a jazz artist, so when he's going on to do a jazz cruise, they'll say, is the Waffle Queen coming too? And what's my next line? There is a fee. So I come on, and I have pallets of waffle mix. They load it onto the belly of the ship. And in the morning for breakfast, I'm not back there cooking it. I teach the executive chefs how to do it. And, hey, we have our good, delicious light waffles and good old fried chicken. Now, okay, for you all who are here and you say, well, you know what? I don't want the buttermilk on mine. It's okay. You don't have to use it. Just wash your chicken. Drain it, dip it in that big bag of seasonings, so you don't have to have the buttermilk soap. You don't have to have it. Soon we're going to come out with the gluten-free all-purpose coating mix. We're working on it a little bit at a time. First we did the waffle mix, and now we got to do the coating mix. So we have any folks here that can't have gluten? So let me tell you what we did. Since we didn't have gluten-free all-purpose coating mix, one of my clients called in and said, I used your waffle mix as a coating. So I said, really? So what she did was she seasoned her meat, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion flakes, whatever. And then she took the waffle mix and sprinkled it on top. So it gave it that nice, crispy, sweet crunch on the outside and a good succulent chicken on the inside. So just a little hint. I've never had deep fried ribs or anything like that, but they're using the waffle mix as a coating mix too, if they run out. So that's just a little hint. There is a possibility. Now see there, I told you guys don't fiddle with the chicken, and I'm fiddling with the chicken. But I'm trying to get it to hurry up so we can drain it. All right. No questions, nothing. You guys are just eating and not saying anything. Come on. No questions, none at all. Okay. Or maybe I answered all of your questions, right? Okay, now, my waffle iron did not beep. So this might be a little crispy. In fact, it might be a little burnt. And it is a little burnt. Oh, gosh. Okay, let me see if I can find a fork. Yeah, there you go. Okay, fork. Where's a fork? A fork. You know what? It's not really. Okay, oh, here we go. Look. She's going to dip. Okay. Okay, here, let me get the plate. Okay. You're going to lift it up. Yeah, it's hot. Okay. There we go. Okay, there we go. Ooh. Yes, please. Yeah, that's kind of hot. Did it lift up? No, it's not coming up. It's a little, okay. I need my fingers. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, come on. And then let's turn this off. All right. So that way it doesn't burn you too much. All right, guys. Everybody know this is Shaniqua, right? SJ. She comes to the rescue. You know what? Don't even worry about it. We just, yeah, there you go. Goodbye. All right, okay. So we're going to get some fresh waffles from the back, and I'll show you guys what I do. Yes. Three words. Follow the directions. People tell me that all the time. Well, mine didn't come out right. And I said, send me a picture. I said, did you whip the eggs for 15 minutes? I was in a rush and I only did it for 5. Well, there you go. There you go. There you go. So it's really following the instructions. If you if you whip it for 15 minutes and then get that heavy whipping cream in and just 3/4 cup of my waffle mix, they will come out perfect every single time. And then two, it could be your waffle iron. Sometimes when they get ready to kind of go out on you, they're not cooking the inside. It may come out a little, burnt on the outside and not done in the inside, in the middle. Now, just in case you're wondering what type of waffle iron do I use at home, because I have about maybe 15 or 20 waffle irons. My favorite waffle iron was the one that you just saw. It's by Presto. It flips from left to right, but it stores standing up, so it doesn't take up much counter space. The second best is called Gourmia. It's another flip one, but it's on a stand, has a little dish underneath it to catch any overflow. But my absolute favorite is by KitchenAid. And I use the double one. So there's one on top, then you can flip it, and then another waffle on the bottom, and then flip it again. And honey, let me tell you, those waffles, that waffle iron, the waffles are this thick. So just imagine, just close your eyes and imagine biting into one of my waffles that's light and crispy and crunchy just on the outside, and you can taste all the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the vanilla extract all inside of there. So yeah, it's time to go and get a box. And how do you get a box? GlennisKitchen.com. That's it. Just put in that, or World Famous Waffle Queen. Now, I don't want you to put in Amazon.com. I want you to put in GlennisKitchen.com and let me take you to Amazon. So that way Amazon will know that's Glennis's folks coming to visit me. Okay? Please. GlennisKitchen.com. Right, Bruce? All right. So now, as you know, I like to talk. So I'm running my mouth, and I don't want to burn the chicken. So here we go. I'm going to turn it over again. Oh. Yes, yes. Oh, yeah. That looks good. Now, to a lot of people who, I always do my chicken in a cast iron skillet. That's my favorite. But if you have a deep fryer, I usually put it at 325. When you put the chicken in, you lower it in. The good thing about a deep fryer is when the chicken is done, you start seeing them rise to the top. But still, don't fiddle with it. Check it, but don't fiddle with it. You know what I mean? Because then you'll take your little basket out and all your batter is at the bottom of the basket. Okay, so now we're going to take these out, and we're going to drain them, right? Let me get the ones that are brown. You always drain your chicken, always. And the good thing about using safflower oil, not sunflower, safflower oil, yes, S-A-F-F, flower oil, okay, is, like I said, it has a good burning point. It doesn't burn your chicken. Usually I'm able to drain it afterwards, so I can use it one more time. Okay, these are not quite done, so I'm going to let them go a little bit longer. It has all the good antioxidants that you need. Because, a long time ago, our parents fried our chicken in what? Crisco. Everything was Crisco, Crisco, Crisco. But now, we have all these different varieties of oils. So just make sure that you choose one that your doctor has told you is good for you and good for your health. And I found as a leukemia survivor that safflower oil is best. And it makes the chicken just nice and juicy and crunchy. How are we doing on time? I'm good? All right. Okay, so while those little three are going, let's plate our waffles. There we go. Do. Put it on there nice and pretty like. Like I said, I'm going to use strawberries. Now, sometimes what I do is I make a sundae out of it. So I'll take 3 wedges of waffles. Then I put a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Then I load it with strawberries and bananas. Drizzle on some hot fudge. Whipped cream. And then for the final touch, I have some powdered sugar. And as Emerald used to say, remember, you have to bam it up a little bit. Ooh, yes. This is how I eat mine. I know you guys have chocolate syrup on yours, but this is how I eat mine. Okay, let me get the last few pieces of chicken here. Anybody else here from New Orleans? Am I the only one? Okay, well. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you're from New Orleans. Let me tell you, everyone who's from New Orleans does not say New Orleans. So we say New Orleans. Oh, gosh. Oh, God, look how that goes. Okay, let's see how to turn this one off. Turn it down. Don't worry about it. Okay, you got it? Oh, look at this. Can we see?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, wrapping up our brunch today. For you today, she is making a pavlova with a Meyer lemon curd and an elderflower cream. Ladies and gentlemen, Chef Gail Gand.
I love when people applaud when I walk up. When I wake up in the morning and come out of my bedroom, I wait for my family to applaud. They're like, Mommy's here. Fantastic. Hi, guys. Someone just won my book. Here we go. Hold on. Let me just stand this up for a second. And then does everybody have a glass of something? I'm hoping so we can do a little toast together. All right. We're going to raise. Janine, you don't have anything, do you? I'm sorry. My sous chef over there is drinkless. That's not right. I brought you to the Food and Wine Festival. And anyway, I've got a little Prosecco here to start the day with. And I've got a toast I like to do when I'm with a big crowd like this because I can't clink everybody. So I don't know if you know who I am. My name is Chef Gail Gand. I'm from Chicago. I had a show on the Food Network, Sweet Dreams, for like 10 years. It's streaming live on Discovery Plus now. But when I was there at Food Network filming, I met the Hardy Boys. They're from Chicago as well. They won. They won the first season of Food Network Next Star. So Steve, the mixologist in the couple, has a toast that he does for groups, which it's in Italian, which I'm not. I'm like Hungarian Jew. But it's really handy for big groups. And I'll say it once, and then we'll say it together. I'll say it once, I'll translate, then we'll say it together. And it's toccato uno, toccato tutti, which means I touch one, I touch all, like tutti frutti ice cream. So it's like great for a group. So I just have to touch one of you. And then you pass it down and get it to the rest of the group, okay? So say with me, toccato uno, toccato tutti. And you're my pick. There you go. All right, pass that down. Thank you. So now we've all clinked and had a good cheers. I can't tell you how happy I am as a Chicagoan in March to be at the Palm Desert Food and Wine Festival. Thank you for inviting me. I won the lottery, absolutely. The other thing is, some of you guys know, my brother lives here in Palm Springs, Gary Gand, and has the Gand Band, and we got to see him last night. We went to PS Underground to go to a show last night. He's got another one coming up. I think it's April 14th and 15th. If you haven't been to PS Underground and you're here, it is so fun. They're doing, it's like dinner and a show, and they're doing a show on the music from The Cavern, which would mean early Beatles. And everybody dresses up in vintage period stuff. It's super fun. So look for that if you're in town next month. Let me take one sip of this. So good. So good. So we're going to make dessert. I'm always the goodbye kiss, which I kind of love. And I want to thank my chefs that came before me. Lisa Dahl from Sedona. She did a great job, I thought. Yes. And Glynis Albright, who made that chicken and waffles. I was watching her make it yesterday, and I was like, I need that. So what do you do to follow such delicious food? I thought, let's do something light, let's do something airy, something lemony. And whenever I'm in Palm Springs, I always think of Meyer lemons, because my brother has trees in his backyard. I think everybody who lives here has a Meyer lemon tree. And I just think, we don't have them in Chicago so much, but they're an interesting lemon. They're from China, so they're not a Turkish lemon of what we're used to with high acid. They're from China originally. About 100 years ago they got brought over, and they think it's a cross between a mandarin and a lemon. It's a little bit sweeter. It's got a smoother skin, a little sort of brighter yellow color, and just love using them. So we're going to make a little bit of lemon curd with that Meyer lemon, and then I'll show you how to make the pavlova base. So pavlovas are a dessert that I just adore. Not only because when I get invited to someone's house for dinner, obviously they're inviting me because they want me to make dessert. I get that. Like I'm okay with that. But it travels really well. Like you can bring it in pieces. You can bring the meringue base with you, bring some whipped cream with you, bring some fruit, and DIY it when you get to their house, and then people are like, can I help? And they can. Because you cannot screw this dessert up. Like wherever the fruit lands is fine. So I love the flexibility of it. I love the travelability of it. It was named after a ballerina, Anna Pavlova. That book wants to go home with somebody. She was a Russian ballerina that came to New Zealand in about 1912. And when the reviews came out about her dancing, they said she didn't dance across the stage, she floated. So she was like this lighter than air little thing. And so the chef, and this happens, the chef of the hotel where she was staying got a crush on her, and so invented this dessert that was lighter than air, kind of like her ballet, skirt, just kind of fluffy with whipped cream on top, and named it after her as a way to get her attention. From what I understand, it was unrequited love. Her mother was traveling with her, as a woman did in those days, didn't travel alone. So nothing came of it really, but we got this great dessert. That's what came of it. So I love making pavlova, and I'm hoping you're enjoying it. Now let's do the lemon curd real quick. So easy, and a lot of lemon curds use only egg yolks, and I think they then end up a little eggy tasting, if you will. So my lemon curd uses whole egg, and that way it never breaks, it never overcooks. So wait, I gotta see how there's help here setting everything up, so I gotta see where everything is. All right, first thing we wanna do is whip up some eggs and sugar. It looks like, though, they've just got the pavlova ingredients here, to be perfectly honest. So I might do that first and then plate up for you, because I don't see the sugar for the lemon curd. I'm sort of talking to Shaniqua right now as I'm up here saying that. And then also, let's see. Well, we'll just go ahead and do this. Behind me? Is that what you're saying? No. Well, there's this. This looks like salt to me. How's that? Let's see. Yeah, that's salt. That's salt. Okay, no problem. Well, let's go ahead and just make the meringue for the base, if that's okay. For the lemon curd, what we would do normally is whip up some egg yolks. The whole eggs with some sugar, add the lemon juice, add the lemon rind, and then cook that over hot water till it gets thick. And then we add a little butter at the end just to kind of enrich it and to kind of thicken it as it cools down. So that's the lemon curd you have there. And to do the meringue bases, we're going to separate some egg whites. I don't have a measuring cup up here, so we're going to dump all this salt out and use that. You know, last year I was in, I don't know if you guys know World Central Kitchen, which is Jose Andreas's organization. So I was in Poland and Ukraine cooking last May in a kitchen about 10 kilometers from the border of Ukraine. And they said, oh, Gail, can you make a chocolate cake, but for 5,000? Because we were cooking for 20,000 people every day in the kitchen in Przemyśl, Poland. But the smallest measuring tool we had was a 5-liter pitcher. And I needed like a cup of baking soda for this recipe, and there were no measuring cups anywhere, kind of like just now. So I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I go over to the coffee station. They have, coffee, tea, sugar, all kinds of stuff. We need hot water. And there's a box on the shelf that says 8-ounce coffee cup. I'm like, that's it. That's my measuring tool. So I'm estimating this is 8 ounces, but it looks like they just, here's that sugar. All right, cool. I'm going to transfer it to here because I need this for my egg whites. So we're going to go ahead and make half a cup of egg whites in here. I want to teach you how to separate eggs. If you've never done it before, there's a couple different ways. You can either crack this on a sharp edge and then pass that yolk from shell to shell. So see, I'm just like passing it and letting the egg white sort of drip down from the side as I pass it. You just want to make sure you don't pierce that yolk with the sharp edge of the shell if you can help it. But just, you want to keep all the whites, clean and no yolks in it at all. The other way you can do it, if you're a chef like me, sometimes we're separating like 30, 40 egg whites at a time. So you don't have time to sit there and pass it from shell to shell. So we take our impeccably clean hands and we just make sort of a claw shape and dump it right into our hand. And then allow the white to drip down. And you can even pass that yolk from one hand to the other to get as much white off of it as possible. Save those yolks for ice cream or something. So I'm going to go ahead and top that off though with, I'm hoping that this is the extra egg whites. I think we need labeling next time. So we're going up to half a cup here of egg whites. And I'm going to whip that up in the mixer with a whip attachment, right? So if you've got a KitchenAid, that's the attachment you're using for it. Go ahead, dump that in. Make sure your bowl, though, is clean and dry and fat-free. I almost never cook fat-free, but this is the time where, like, it matters. Fat-free matters, right? So we're going to mix that up. And I'm going to add a couple kinds of acid. I'm going to add some cream of tartar, which is a natural. Have you ever opened a red wine bottle and there's, like, white crusty stuff around the top under the cork? That's natural cream of tartar. It comes from. So this is actually a plant-based, natural form of acid. Little cream of tartar, little salt going in. Both of those are going to help the protein chains in the egg whites unfold, unravel, unwind, open up, grab onto air. We are trying to sort of break the laws of physics here. We're trying to get these really tight protein chains that are like slinkies, loosen up, open up, relax, and kind of unfold, and then air can glom onto them. So I'm mixing this up. Right now it looks sort of like bubble bath, and that's what I want. It looks kind of sudsy. So once I know that my egg whites are clean, if there was like yolk in there or fat on in the bowl, or like whipped cream up top fell down into, all of a sudden, like these egg whites would not whip up. So we're getting some nice foamy whipping going here. And while we're kind of hanging out and waiting, I brought something fun to show you guys. I brought my James Beard Awards. Yeah, the whole table is shaking, isn't it? I do that to people, make them shake. No, I brought my James Beard Awards so you guys could see them. Thank you. Oh, that's very sweet. You know, these are like an Oscar in my industry. So when I'm interviewing for a job or a consulting gig, I like bring my James Beard. My husband tells this story about Shelley Winters was asked to audition for the Poseidon Adventure. And she already had an Oscar at that point. So she was kind of insulted that she had to audition. So she brought her Oscar with, and she's like, excuse me, where should I put my Oscar down? You know, so I kind of pull a Shelley Winters when I'm interviewing. I'm like, where would you like me to put my James Beard Awards while I interview and tell you my prize? Right, there we go. So if anyone wants to take a selfie with them afterwards, feel free to come up afterwards. Let's take a look at these egg whites. I just want to show you what we've got so that when you're making this at home, feel free to call me, but you might not have to. So this is soft peaks, right? It's not liquidy, it's not falling from the whisk, but if I take a little bit of it and turn it up, that peak is still a little wiggly, but it kind of relaxes like a Nestle's morsel, right? The little top. So that's called soft peaks. So at this point, we can go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients, which is going to be low while we do that. But it's going to be the sugars. I have to decide which sugar to use. This one I'm going for. So sugar's going in. One of the chefs back there who's making pavlova later, she's like, do you add your sugar 1 teaspoon at a time? Like, no, I do not. Because she was sitting back there like adding a little. I kind of pour it in slowly, but not like fussily, a teaspoon at a time. A little bit of cornstarch. The thing about pavlova is you're looking for a texture that's crispy on the outside, but a little marshmallowy on the inside. Yet it's not like a dry, chalky meringue. It's a little bit chewy in the center. And why is it chewy? Because of that cornstarch. What do we use cornstarch for? In the locker room. to absorb moisture, right? That's what it's doing right here. It's going to hold on to the moisture. And then I'm adding a little more acid, which is some vinegar, red wine vinegar, but that's sort of for flavor too. I don't know if you noticed like a little kind of tang going on. That was the vinegar. And then a little vanilla. So we're going to whip that, I would say on high, but this table can't take it, till the sugar's dissolved. And the way you tell if the sugar's dissolved, or the way pastry chefs do, is we stick our finger in and taste a little. And if you hear a crunch sound, the sugar's not dissolved yet. So that's sort of the little indicator there. I'm trying to see if there's something. I need that ice cream scoop to scoop it out. I'm just going to show them the technique of how to. What else am I missing? I'm missing my whipped cream to plate it up. You can tell I'm the last demo of the day, right? Because we also need a little whipped cream to plate it up. Hopefully she saved some back from you guys. And did you taste in the whipped cream a little bit of elderflower syrup? So that's what this is. You could use Saint Germain, which is an elderflower, sometimes they say, or lychee tasting liqueur. But if you don't want to put some extra alcohol, though I don't know why you wouldn't want to, but a non-alcoholic version is you can get these different syrups that are used for cocktail making, and this is an elderflower syrup. I know also you can get it at IKEA. Do you have the bigger scoop? The one with the green handle? IKEA sells elderflower syrup for some reason. So if you're going there for one of those cute little ice cream cones, grab yourself a bottle of the elderflower. All right, let's see how this is doing now. So when I put that sugar in, it does a couple things. The sugar is dissolving, right? Sugar is what we call hygroscopic. It means it looks for water. It looks for water and it gathers it together. Have you ever seen a lemon meringue pie in the grocery store? And it's got like beads of, like they look like caramel, but like little beads of water on top. That's what's going on. It's not the baker's fault. It's that sugar looks for humidity or moisture anywhere it can find it and brings it together. So it's doing that in here. The egg whites are protein and water. That's all they are. So as we mix this, the sugar's looking for the water. It's gathering it together. And now it's like much looser than it was. Remember when we had a stiff peak? Like, I can't get one to save my life right now. That's because the sugar has kind of like grabbed all that water, dissolved itself, and made itself into like almost a syrup, like corn syrup. So we want to mix this a little bit more and get this a little bit stiffer without the table walking away. Let's see if we can do that. And then do we have some kind of sheet pan with a piece of parchment on it? What? We're aerating our wine just by, look at that. That's a new invention. I actually have a friend that invented this thing that has like a magnet that spins in the, like you pour the wine into a decanter and you drop in a magnet and then put it on a plate and somehow the plate like spins the magnet to, he's the guy that invented the bullet. That's his new thing. But I'm going to tell him about this. We just invented our own little thing there. That's so great. The last thing I should tell you about is all the cool things I've gotten to do and all the cool people I've gotten to cook for. I got to cook with Julia Child. And you know who she is. There's going to be a point where the whole crowd, they're 20 years old and they're going to be like, who? So I'm so glad that you know who she is. I was part of her book, Baking with Julia. Can you imagine getting that phone call? Right? No, it's not that special. There were 27 of us that she called. Apparently, Julia doesn't bake. Who knew? So she calls us the 27 voices from around the country. So she called 27 different pastry chefs, and each one of us got like a different assignment. I was the phyllo chapter. Someone else got like the flatbread chapter. And if you got your recipes in time, Dory Greenspan was the one writing the book actually, and like wrangling us, which is not easy. But if you got your recipes in on time, you got to go to Julia's house and film the PBS show or episode of your recipes. I actually did 2 episodes with Julia, so you can Google it. It's adorable. Thank God Julia had scoliosis at that point, so instead of 6 feet tall, she's like 5'10". And I know when I walked up here, you were like, she's so, I didn't know she was so short. Whenever I show up anywhere, they're like, oh, you're shorter than I thought you would be. So with Julia, I look really short. But I got to go to her house and work with her. This was in maybe 1996. So this is a very blonde, you'll notice. It's before the Food Network got a hold of my eyebrows. So I have these like Muriel Hemingway eyebrows at the time. And I'm soft-spoken. I'm like not media trained yet, so I'm like, I'm demure, practically. Oh, that's a small amount of whipped cream. Fabulous, thank you. I don't mean to make fun of you. We love. This is Shaniqua, who we cannot live without. Year after year, she picks us up at the airport. She does everything. She gets comp tickets for our friends. Thank you so much. And her mom's here too. Where's your mom? Her mom comes with her to help. New York. Yeah, we love both of you. Thank you so much, Shaniqua. Here we go. And she hears me. She sees me. So great. Anyway, you get to go to Julia's house. And when I walked in, Julia says, oh, dearie, I just can't wait to learn about phyllo, whatever you call that stuff, from you. And I said, well, Julia, certainly you've worked with phyllo before. Oh, no, dearie, I just can't wait till tomorrow. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, did Julia Child just say she can't wait to learn about something from me? Well, she said, phyllo, whatever you call that stuff, from me? I like looked down to see if my pants are on inside out or something. Like, is this like backwards day? Like, what just happened? It was the weirdest thing. And I guess she just had never played with it before. So I got to teach Julia Child how to work with phyllo, whatever you call that stuff. Yes, I know. So go watch it. It's darling. It's like this grandma and granddaughter thing. I'd be cooking and she'd be like, oh, is that a quarter cup or a half a cup? She'd kind of, oh, could you put cinnamon in that? And I'm like, absolutely. So let's look at this meringue now. Much different, right? I think. So I can get like a really nice little peek. I bet if I tasted this, it wouldn't have any crunch. And if you put it over your head, it doesn't fall out of the bowl. That's how you know it's ready. All right? So we're good. So to make that little pavlova, now normally you could just spread all of this on and make one big disc if you feel like cutting it into 12 when you're going to serve it. It's good looking. It's very beautiful. Put it on a like footed, cake plate. But today we did individual, so I'm just going to show you how you do that. When chefs are scooping meringue onto a pan, so I've got a sheet pan here, and sorry, this is the restaurateur in me. They're like like wasting a half a sheet of parchment. So I'm just going to cut this in half. That's money right there, right? That's like 1 cent. We can use that for something else. And then I've got to stick this paper down, though, because it's kind of slippy slidey. So what we do is just take like a little bit of the meringue, dot it in the corners. I'll show this to you because I'm not sure if there's an overhead. But see how I've got a little meringue in the corners? That's going to be glue. And I'm sure you didn't notice, but there was a little glue under your pavlova to keep it from sliding on the plate. We always put down stuff for glue. So now I'm just going to scoop that meringue on there. Except the scoop is brand new, so it needs, there we go. And then you just do like a little back swing, like a little backhanded to get a little depression in the middle, right? So that's all. That's how you make these. And then you bake them in the oven, pretty low oven. To here, we've got some badass convection ovens that run really hot. So I baked these at about 250 degrees yesterday. But in your home oven, probably about 300 would be sufficient. You don't want a lot of color on them. You're just kind of crisping that outside and giving them enough time for that exterior to thicken up so it doesn't deflate when you take it out. But you do still want marshmallowy inside. And feel free to like take one off halfway through baking, put it on the counter, let it cool, and then try it and see where it's at. And, you know, give it more time if it needs it. So let's go ahead and plate one up. Got a little plate here. So I mentioned I'm just going to use this whipped cream to like throw a dot down. See, that's my glue for the little pavlova base. And when they're baked, here's one that's baked off. If you were going to do a big one, you just like draw a circle on your parchment paper to spread the meringue on, but flip that paper over because you don't want pencil in your pastry, okay? All right, so we're going to put a little lemon curd on there. Does anybody have any questions, even about my life? My personal life is fine. Who made my wedding cake? Stuff like that. Nobody, because nobody will. I make my own birthday cakes and wedding cakes. No, if anyone has any real questions, feel free to ask. I know you want to know what's going on with Gio, my son. I always talk about him. I talked about him on my show a lot. He's settled in Cleveland, has a job, finished college. Nothing very interesting, to be honest. Who's interesting are the twins. So I have twin girls who are 18. I have 18-year-old twins. So they're seniors in high school. And everyone I tell that, they're like, oh, I'm sorry. Are you okay? And actually, though, I have kids that are, what would you call them, Janine? They're not trouble. They're weird. So it's spring break next week. They're weirdos. I got weirdo kids. What a surprise. And one's got an eating disorder. Even more of a surprise. One of my daughters is going to LA next week for spring break to spend the week at the Getty Museum in the library to do research on some, does anyone know who Donna Tartt is and the book called The Secret History? She's writing like a 50-page something on that, not even for school, just for herself. So she's kind of a reader-writer kid. She's a very interesting girl. She went to France during COVID for sophomore year because they had in-person school there. She went to Korea last summer to intern at a K-pop school. How many of your kids did that? I am so alone in this, right? And then the other one, she's got pink hair. She's going to be a filmmaker. So we're looking at colleges next week. We're college hunting. So may I have you toast to the fact that may my kids get into a college. All right, will someone take them, please? All right, last thing, there's mango sauce up here somewhere. I know, I saw it. Oh, here it is. So just a little dab of mango sauce. And did that powdered sugar shaker make it up here? Yeah, there it is. Seeing it. Little powdered sugar. You know, we started using powdered sugar on plates basically to hide the thumbprints, right? Remember when black plates were like all the rage? Those are a mother to clean. They are a bitch to clean, I'm sorry. But so what we were like, you know what? If you can't fix it, hide it. And so we just put powdered sugar all over it. And the final, just a little sprig of mint. And that's more for color contrast than anything. But there's that baby. There she is. There's that girl. Do I have an overhead camera? Oh, there it is. There it is. I didn't even know there was a camera up there. That would have been useful. Any questions about this? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. What temp do you have your oven at? Do you remember? So turn it down a little bit. Yeah, too high because you're probably picking up some color before the heat is actually setting the whole thing. You're trying to kind of sear the outside without picking up too much color. You know, at the darkest, it's like cappuccino is what we call that color. So I would turn your oven down a little to give it more time in there. The other thing, sometimes, I don't do this every time, but I think in my book, it directs you to, when you're cooling it, just turn the oven off. Prop the door open, like stick a wooden spoon to prop the door open so it's kind of a slower cooling. That will help as well. Did you do like the big stuffed one? Isn't that one cool? So there's a few new versions of pavlova, you know, just when you thought after 100 years there's nothing new to do with it. And I also do a rolled pavlova now, which is you take the same meringue, you smear it on a sheet pan where the parchment's been like sprayed with baking spray, you know, like Baker's Joy, and bake it off, and then you smear whipped cream and fruit and flower petals and roll it up. And it's so pretty. And the other thing I didn't mention about pavlova that's so great is it's gluten-free. But it's gluten-free without like substituting something. You know, I know there's a whole world of like, oh, let's, you know, make these cookies but use gluten-free flour. But this is a dessert that you don't even have to compromise anything or switch out anything or trade out anything for it to be gluten-free. And I do have a couple friends that are gluten-free, and now Ruby has a very interesting boyfriend, Leo, who is gluten-free. So if my next cookbook is Baking for Leo, you'll know who Leo is. He's the gluten-free person in our lives. Any other questions before we finish up? Are we good on time, or should I could stretch. You know me, I could talk. You got 2 more hours? I could keep going. I got a million stories. Okay, she's in charge. So, yeah, Shaniqua needs the room. Thank you so much. You guys were great. Thank you for coming to the brunch. I loved having brunch with you. I will be outside book signing afterwards. Yeah, I've got brunch books. There's a book table out there. I think she wants to tell you something. Do you want to tell her something? Tell them something? Okay, great. All right, I will see you at the book table. Thank you again, guys.